Shabbat Shalom and welcome to this week's 3-2-1. That's 3 comments on the Parsha in 2 minutes with 1 insight. This week we get sort of the conclusion of last week's Parsha. Last week were the communal sacrifices, and this week is the rules for the priests themselves. It comes down to a question every bar mitzvah kid I've ever had in my office has at some point asked, which is, why? What's the deal with sacrifices? We don't have any sacrifices. There is not a single ritual slaughter as part of our worship in this moment. It sounds totally foreign, like a different religion. So why? Why not go straight to prayers, services as we have it? What are we supposed to take away and learn? So 3 comments on exactly what we might do with that. The first is the most common, but it can't be stated enough, which is that it's what they knew. The entire world at the time did worshiping their god or gods through animal sacrifice. In fact, some of the world did it through human sacrifice, so this is already a step forward away from that towards just animals. So it made sense to them based on what they already knew. Second, it makes a very important and somewhat subtle shift, which I think lays the groundwork of the Judaism we know today, which is in the ancient world, there was a priestly class, and they kept everything that happened super secret inside their temples, inside their rituals. Everything was just a show, and backstage was totally separate. Here, we get the book of Leviticus, which is for all Jews to read, no matter where they come from, who they are. And it lays out in detail exactly how the priestly class would function. It pulls back the curtain and makes them still special and connected to God, but less mysterious and otherworldly, still human, and lays the groundwork for the Judaism we have today, or we imagine we are all on the same page. Which leads to the third comment, which has to do with the concept of sacrifice itself. It seems like the Torah is telling us that if you want to worship God, if you want to be in relationship with God, you have to give up something important. You have to sacrifice something for that relationship to be real. And in turn, God is laying out for us how to be in relationship with God today, and maybe with each other. First, with God, we have to start with what we know. We can't just, if it's totally otherworldly, if it is from another thing, it might feel good for a second, but we won't be able to hold on to it. We need to start with what we know. Second, we can't start putting humans on a higher status. It is God who is God, and so we have to pull back the curtain wherever possible and let ourselves be a part of the things that we might consider holy. And third, it's gonna take a sacrifice. In that day and age, food was the primary concern for most of the people, so sacrificing an animal was most important. For many of us today, not all, of course, many of us struggle, and we should always keep in mind there are those in need of those basic needs. But for those of us who have most of our basic needs met, our most precious commodity, time. If you want relationship with God, you can't just show up whenever you want. You can't just drop in the concept of thinking about God in that relationship. I don't just mean shul. I mean on a day-to-day life. Where and how do we imagine God? It can't be just whenever it moves us. We have to put time in. And of course, that builds the foundation of how we build our relationship with others. We can't start from nowhere. We have to start with what we know. We have to work on commonality, on the basics of who we are. Second, we can't leave it a total mystery. We have to follow the great sage Billy Joel and tell her about it. We have to share ourselves, pull back the curtain. And third, if we are serious about any of our relationships, always and completely, we have to give up our time. We have to be committed to making them work. I wish us a relationship with God, I wish us a relationship with our loved ones, and I wish us a Shabbat Shalom.